Have you ever met my sister?
Shut up, dude. We're starting.
No, I know, but it's fine.
Dude, we've started. Have you met his sister? Nah, I want to know.
I met your sister once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
At that video thing you did.
Oh.
And I was like, "Are you proud of your brother?" And she was like, "I'm honestly very proud of him and your mom too."
She's awesome. She's very supportive and loving.
Yeah.
I think I met your sister once
You did?
at your house. I think.
Yeah, that
Right?
makes sense.
I don't know. I never actually talked to your sister.
Probably.
Oh, I met your sister at your house also. I met your sister a couple times.
For sure.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's cool. You probably have a good time.
Yeah.
The podcast. Okay, hold on. Let me address this. I haven't done the fucking podcast in.
We're
by the
live?
way. Yeah, we're
I'm
live.
Kidding, I'm just
I'm here
All
with
at the same time. Oh, welcome.
With
Sorry.
Swoon and Tadeh. At Tadeh.Agmook. Agmook. Damn,
Agmook.
you have the pronunciation in your like bio, and I still fucked it up. Agmook. Yeah, and I haven't done the podcast in months, but we were trying to do this like a while ago, and then it just never ended up happening until right now. So here we fucking are.
Here we are.
Here we fucking are.
And I'm not prepared at all. Like I have no idea what I want to talk about or anything. Like,
Are you usually prepared for this?
I'm usually a little bit prepared. In the beginning, I was taking more notes like beforehand, and kind of like thinking
like
of things.
doing research on them and shit.
Yeah, a little bit, or like even just kind of like just like writing down questions to fucking default to if in case.
Yeah.
So how about that coronavirus, guys?
Yeah.
I heard that was pretty bad.
I mean, I'm sure
We can start there.
There's
We can
no-
start.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't
I
want to
can't-
start
no, I
there.
don't wanna
What's your
start there
opinion
either.
on corona? Do you like it?
I'm so
Or
sick
It's
of
a
like,
force.
yeah,
It's a force.
I'm sick of that
kidding.
topic.
It has
Yeah.
been my favorite joke recently, though,
What?
to say "God bless" Joe Biden to people.
God bless
Oh
you.
yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard
I
you
don't know
say that.
what about it brings up some sort of like level of like complexity of confusion. Where, like, I
God
say
bless.
"God bless Joe Biden" and people they don't know how to.
Yeah, they don't know how to
Yeah.
respond.
They don't know how to
Are you
respond
being
to it.
sarcastic or
Yeah,
like?
it's
Yeah.
like weird.
But like, there's
Then
no
where do
reason.
you stand politically? You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like this whole
Why are you saying
sort
this?
of thing.
It's like a way to try
wait,
to like.
why is this a joke? And it's like, well, it's
You're
because
trying to like oust people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're trying to see what their response is. Like, God bless Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. You do a lot of shit like that to just fuck with people, right?
Yeah, you do.
I do, and it's a fault. It's like it, you know.
No, I don't think it's.
I enjoy it. It's not a fault, but it is. It's definitely boy who cries wolf because sometimes I'm being like very, very genuine about things,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
people are
They
like,
just like, I stop fucking with
You're
me.
like, yeah,
or-
you're lying.
Oh yeah, true.
and then that's like the times when I'm trying to be serious. I'm like, please believe me. Like,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
someone listen to me.
And the harder you push it, the more they're like, like, I'm gonna stop committing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
that is an issue. I do a lot of the time not know if you're like
I know it's
being
a
serious or
problem.
not. Yeah.
Why do you do it?
Why do I
It's
do
funny.
it? Oh my
What's
god.
the psychology, man? Let me psychoanalyze you.
This is the question you would have wrote down. Like, all right,
Yeah,
questions
what the
do I
fuck's
wanna-
wrong with you?
Why? Why do you do it? This is like an intervention.
Yeah,
We're open.
yeah,
All
yeah.
our friends
Yeah, we
all get
planned
like,
this.
Tadeh, please
We're
stop.
all-
Yeah, they're
fucking
gonna
with
come out
everybody.
of the closet one at a time.
Yeah, why do I do it? Oh my god. I mean,
Maybe you just
that's definitely like this my sense of humor.
yeah.
But then it's like I don't know.
Is it like a power thing? Because I feel like in a I don't mean but it's like when you confuse somebody, because I do it too. Like I do the same shit, and it's just like kind of funny. Like the dynamic kind of changes, and
Yeah.
and then they're confused, and then they start questioning
Are
themselves.
you guys
in a way.
hot? Are you guys hot?
That sounds like gaslighting or something. It's like,
Yeah, I know, but it's
you're
more
like,
innocent.
then they start questioning their reality.
Yeah.
And you're in control.
It's innocent gaslighting. It's like a little white gas.
White gaslighting. Yeah.
Okay, no, but that's what I
White
did mean
gaslighting.
by,
I know, that
by
sounds-
it's
Yeah,
a
it's-
fault though, because I do think that there is a level of it where it's like I'm going to control this interaction, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
maybe there's
Yeah.
like a defense mechanism, like element to it. Well, because that's what seeking control. When the first thing I
driving over
think,
here, I was like, I'm so happy. That
we're just breaking down here, like
like, I'm going to talk about
So
my EP.
your childhood.
So why do you fuck?
So you think that
yeah,
you,
what happened
use
to
your
you?
comedy? You think you use your humor as a deflection mechanism? For
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
For your insecurities?
Because you feel like people aren't going to take you seriously anyway, so you might as well just fucking control that.
Maybe that was a real. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Damn, yeah, I don't know. No, but you said it also. It's like in that interaction when like depending on what the reaction is, you kind of like get to know the person, you know what I mean? Like how does somebody, and then there is also that like the if it was a superpower, it would be like you'd be distorting the images in front, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like you're kind of taking it and stuff. But damn, yeah, I don't know what it was. I think my grandpa, it goes back to my grandpa, honestly. It was passed down generations.
Really?
Yeah, he was a fucking...
Like he would just fuck with people?
He would fuck with people all the time.
That's funny.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like, is this like a memory
You know what?
of
I think
yours,
this goes back to like when I was a newborn child, where my family used to block the sun from my eyes. And then I would open my eyes, and when I would open my eyes, they would pull their hand away.
Yeah.
So it was this constant... I was constantly on edge of whether I was... safe.
Is that why you're such a good musician, like Stevie Wonder? Like they fucked up your eyesight so that your hearing could be better.
Yes, that's what they were
trying
to
go
for.
Happened?
No, it's not. Well, he was born blind.
Oh, it's like they did that to him. They're
Yeah,
like, you're gonna be a good musician.
Yeah, no. Ray Charles lost his dude. I just found out recently one of the last things that he saw. He lost his vision at like 5 because he had like a degenerative disease.
Sure.
One of the last things that he saw was his brother drowning.
Oh fuck!
When he was like 5, and then he lost his vision.
That's fucked up,
right?
Wow,
that's fucked. That's scarring because he doesn't even have that sense anymore. So it's like his association with that sense is just like
trauma.
Yeah, straight up trauma.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Where'd you learn that from?
I don't remember. I looked it up the other day because I was trying to figure out if Stevie Wonder was born blind. I'm like, oh no, I think because I remember something about him losing his sight like later, but. He was, but it was Ray Charles, yeah. And then I found that out. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is so sad.
That's pretty fucked up. I was going to say, though.
So, Tadeh, the reason that you really do this...
Are you going to bring this back right now?
No, I was just... Because I was going to say, like, maybe it's not that deep. Maybe you're just funny. You just have a sense of humor and you're a funny person and, like, I don't know. We all probably have, like, kind of fucked up reasons why we do the things we do. Or we like the things we like. Like, you know what I mean? Like... Because I think of the way you fuck with people like almost like as an art form, like you know what I mean, like you're creative in the way that you fuck with people, like and I think people, maybe not everyone recognizes it that way necessarily, but it definitely calls attention to itself in a way that's different to like normal fucking with people because it's funny. Does that make sense? Like some people fuck with people and it's only funny to them, but you fuck with people and it's usually funny to most people, not always, but people find it funny. So it's like it's comedy, which is like music. It's like why do you do music? No one's like I feel like you don't just immediately go to like, well no not that, but I just mean like you don't immediately go to like why do you do music? It's because I like being in a room and being able to control people like with my music. Like no, it's like because I grew up in a family that liked music and I really always liked music and so whatever.
But it does layers because it's like I think that something that I've definitely struggled with is like this is a skill that I have and like especially when I was younger, like I want people to think I'm cool. Like and I wasn't doing music because of that. But oh shit, there's like a
I think it's good.
But fuck. Oh shit, this is gonna be like the fucking thing.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Fuck, it's so distracting.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what I was gonna say. As a kid, I wanted to be cool, but it wasn't for the reason that I was doing music. But it was definitely like contributing to like why I liked it because it's like.
Well, I was saying like I think we all can find like deeper, more psychological, and even more fucked up reasons why we like the things we like. But I don't know. I feel like with something like what you do. That's the default is for somebody to be like,
totally.
Oh, you probably do it for all of these
totally,
as opposed to the default.
Hold on, I'm gonna fix this shit. Hold on.
Fix the.
I think that might be my mic.
I don't think it's the mic. I think it's like Soundflower shit.
Oh yeah, Soundflower can be.
What is that?
Finicky. It's like a sound capture on the computer, so it captures the sound of the computer and then reroutes it. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Reroutes it. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Reroutes it. You know what I'm talking about? Reroutes it. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Reroutes it. Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's the delay.
No, the delay's not on.
Oh, it's the delay.
What the?
See? Oh, it's the delay. It's your computer picking it up, right?
Is it?
It's your computer picking it up.
What the fuck? I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's the delay is so great too. Oh, is it? Mute that.
Testing. Oh,
that's totally what it is.
Okay. Well, I don't need that open.
All right. Oh, they
Cool.
fixed it though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, or what I was saying before was, generally when it comes to like fucking with people or like these kinds of things, like your default is to think of like those reasons as opposed to just immediately thinking of it as like, I don't know, a skill or like a habit or like a hobby, I guess, or like a, you know, or an interest. It's more of like it's like, oh, why do you do this? Like it's an impulse that you can't
Well, I was just
control.
asking because it's interesting.
No,
to me.
I'm
It's
not.
like,
I'm
why-
not even.
why
I'm
do
not
people-
saying you. I'm just saying. I'm not even saying like just you. I'm saying like in general. Like I feel like I don't want to say as a society, but like people, like that would be our default generally is to like think that way about that kind of thing.
specifically like
Fucking with people or
people?
like pranking people or like these kinds of things. Like, or I don't know. I don't want to say comedy as a whole maybe because it's not even true, but like, you know what I mean? I just feel
you're
like
giving it's the same thing as performing as you're giving somebody an experience too, you know, like
Yeah,
when you're kind of
yeah.
fucking with them and you're confusing them and like you're just saying shit that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense and they're trying to process it and then they become savvy to the joke at some point.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you fucking
Well,
okay.
right.
yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
which is why I'm
yes.
saying I think of it almost as like a creative
right
thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of
And
like
so-
a little like, you know, you're experiencing a conversation all the time, but then it's like an experiential conversation where it's like there's a process of going, you know, it's like this thing, we're throwing it out there, we're making it a little chaotic, and
It's
then
like
we're all getting through it
like a
together.
movie. It's like watching
on
Yeah.
the other side,
Yeah.
on the other side, we're a little bit closer.
Have you
Yeah.
ever been so far as even decided to look more like
What?
To look more what? See, they did it. See, that's really good.
yeah, that totally
No, but it, like-
threw me for a loop. I was like,
But
what
see,
the
like
fuck
even
did
with
you
that,
just
like
say?
when it's like it's when I was gonna start doing.
I feel like I'm still confused. Like, no, I know it happened, but it just like the feeling
Yeah.
lingers a little
It's,
bit.
it's like
yeah,
Eric
yeah.
Andre, you know.
Crossed for a second.
Yes.
Eric Andre is a fucking master at making people
But see,
question
that's-
their own
so
fucking
you look at
reality.
Eric Andre and you're like, oh, he's like an absurdist humor.
Right,
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But then like you look at like your average Joe person, you're like, oh, he's just a dickhead.
That's
But it's
how I
like, but
look
it's
at
not
Tadeh.
fair. That my point is that you shouldn't be that way.
You are right though in saying that there's different degrees of it, because there are people that fuck with people to an extent where you're like, dude, like, you know, tone it.
And there's
down.
no like regard for that person's like
well-being.
yeah
Their safety.
sure. There's
Yeah.
there's got to be an awareness.
Yeah.
This is the same with music. It's like I'm not just gonna blast my music into everyone's ears and hurt them.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about scare tactics?
What does that mean?
That's
like just like
interesting.
scaring people?
The show.
Oh, I never.
There was
heard
a-
of it.
Oh,
wait, is that the one
with
where?
the kid from Stranger Things?
Oh no. I
No.
don't know.
It's like an older show, right?
It's an
And-
older show.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
on
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
like MTV or VH1.
Yeah. They just
But
fuck
they
with
would-
people like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would like have a friend like set them up
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
shows, and then they like start a new job or something, or like they think that they're going in for like a fucking job interview, and then somebody like breaks in and fucking shoots somebody, and like all this crazy
those
shit's
shit-
happening.
Insane stuff. Like there was one where there's like this group of people in a cabin, and they're like whatever. They had just gotten there. It's like maybe like 4 girls and 2 guys, and one of the guys had like set this thing up or whatever. So there's like cameras everywhere, but they can't see them. They're inside, and then all of a sudden like somebody starts like tapping on windows or something from the outside, and then finally they like. You know, and at first they're like, what the fuck is going on? And like, whatever. And then they look out the window and there's like a dude with like a knife outside of the window or like a machete or some shit. And they're like, what the fuck? And they're like freaking out. And then like it makes it as if like he killed like one of the guys or whatever, make it seem like all this crazy shit. And they're screaming, like losing their minds, thinking they're about to get murdered.
Holy shit.
And they're like, ah!
Yeah,
You're on
it's
the
like,
show!
Hey, is your fucking brother Nate set you up, and
Yeah,
and then
damn.
they're like, Nate, you fucking dick,
they're like,
like
"Whoa."
they're so relieved afterwards, but it's like it's kind of
That's so
fucked.
Nate.
Well, it's
yeah,
kind of like the I forget the name of it, but there's this whole place, you know, where you sign up to be like scared to a point. You basically sign up to like be tortured, and you do like a little, sort of thing, and it's like
you can't. You basically made it so that they can't stop it.
Yeah, and there's like
nights?
no. It's like something like way worse, where like I can't remember if there was like even the level of like they're able to like come and abduct you and then take you to the place, and stuff like that.
But then
it's like scare tactics. I thought you meant.
Can they hurt you?
No, I don't know.
Have you guys seen that?
Because then if they're not hurting me, I don't know.
Have you guys seen that episode of Nathan For You where he's like trying to help a fucking haunted house?
No.
I have seen it.
Have you seen the show? Of it. That's this.
Really? Bro, you would fucking love that show.
He's like super plain.
This show is about him like there's the absurd ideas with helping.
Yes.
Dude, I feel like you'd love that show.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's one where
he has one where it's like shit, like he's giving somebody something with like the shit. It's like he's like it's poop. There's like an episode.
Oh no, he makes a poop flavored ice cream.
He's like frozen yogurt. This, yes.
So this one's it's a haunted house. He's trying to help the haunted house, and basically like the way he does it is he makes a claim. I guess he comes up with the idea that like if you claim like this is the scariest haunted house. Oh no. What he does is he makes like fake advertisements to make it look like this haunted house had like scared someone so bad that they died or something.
Oh yeah,
something like that. Point is though, he then like creates this whole like he like adds to the haunted house to make it actually scary. So it attracts all these people who are like like scare fanatics. They like wanna they want the craziest scare whatever experience, thinking that they're coming into this haunted house that had killed people. So they're like walking through it, and it's kind of a regular haunted house at first, like people just scaring them or whatever. And then at one point, one guy like comes up and like runs up to them or whatever. It's like a couple, and, like runs up to them like with a machete or whatever, and then like accidentally like kind of bumps into them and like touches them. And then he like walks away, and they're kind of like like whatever, and then they're like keep going through. But it's like a regular haunted house experience up to this point. And then Nathan Fielder comes out with like a couple dudes, and they're like totally dressed normal, and they're like, I'm sorry to interrupt like your experience, but did he touch you? And they're like, yeah, he did. And he was like, oh my God, like where did he touch you exactly? And he like looks super concerned. And he's like, that guy had like this, he has this disease, like this, blah, blah, blah. And then he has like all these like people around him who look professional and like all this shit. And they like convinced this couple basically, and it's the guy I think that had gotten touched, that he might have just gotten this like crazy disease, some shit, like this crazy disease or whatever. And the guy's kind of like, what the fuck? And then they call an ambulance, and like an ambulance has to come. This whole thing, it becomes this whole
people
crazy
with fucking like hazmat suits and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're gonna be fine.
And it's a whole ass thing, and they're kind of like, what the fuck? And then like get into the ambulance and everything, and then they finally get to like the hospital, and they open the fucking doors of the ambulance, and then it says like end of the haunted, like finish line or whatever. The haunted house is done there, and then they like get out, and they're like, and the guy's like, oh, he's like,
wait, is this a sketch?
That was good.
Is it a sketch or
no? This is what
real?
they did. This
yeah.
Fucks with that's people. The thing about the show is that like they're this real like
right. Oh my God,
real, like it's crazy.
Oh,
and they're like, and then but it's just hilarious because the guy's kind of like, oh
yeah,
he's like,
holy shit, like he went for a ride.
And then and then you know what they did? No, you know what they did? He was trying to get the place sued. That was the idea. He wanted to get the haunted house sued for scaring people too much.
Oh yeah, he's
so
like,
at the end of the like when you leave the haunted house, you pass the finish line. There's a lawyer there. He has like a lawyer standing there, being like, "Would you like to sue this like them for what they did or like whatever?" Like,
and then the business owner, he doesn't want to be sued, obviously. Yeah. But then Nathan comes in with these crazy fucking ideas. So like he's like half on board, but half doesn't want to be sued at the same time. So it's like. He's a fucking crazy. He's a manipulator.
Yeah, that always happens though. Like in the shows, is
crazy.
Like he'll come up with an idea that's obviously ridiculous, and then like the business owner will be like,
"Throw it on."
Like, okay, I guess. Like kind of. They're the most ridiculous ideas, but they're fucking hilarious, man.
Damn.
You gotta watch that show.
I do want to watch that. That's crazy.
So funny.
And it is. It's interesting too. Like some people are willing to accept it, and then other people are not. And that's the craziest
like
thing.
Getting fucked with.
Yeah, when people get offended by something, because that also happens when we were walking down Hollywood.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
We were walking down Hollywood, and we went out clubbing and stuff, and I was like, what?
It sounded funny when you said that. we were walking down Hollywood. We were walking down Hollywood.
Yeah, just clubbing.
I was like doing the whole, you got something on your shirt, flicking like that to like people on the street, and then people were super receptive. But the last dude did not seem like he was receptive, and he like looked at me.
Hand.
Yeah, he kind of grabbed my hand, and then he kind of like looked at me, and he was like, And then he like put out a fist.
Yeah.
But in his head, there was definitely that moment of being like, do I punch him in the face?
Yeah,
I remember like Edwin was just like,
it was crazy.
Yo, dude,
because it started
yeah.
with Tadeh was doing it at the club, like to like friends and stuff. Like,
yeah.
maybe some random people, but you're at a club, so it's a little bit like everyone was kind
shit's
of like,
chaotic. And
yeah, so he would just go like, oh, you guys don't know your shirt, and then everyone would be like, oh fuck, and then it was like funny. And then we're leaving, and on the street, he's just doing it. One guy's getting into an Uber. He's like literally like 1 foot in the Uber, and Tadeh's like, dude, you have something on your shirt. And he's like, oh, and he goes like that, and the guy's like, oh, like, everyone's like laughing and shit. And we're like, Tadeh, dude, like you should like chill a little bit. Like we're like walking down the street like on Hollywood, like tons of fucking people. And then you do it to one guy who's sitting like on the patio of a restaurant. We're like on the outside of the little.
He was
like,
cool with it.
Thing, and then. Well, he just didn't fall for it, I guess, but he was just kind of serious at first.
Yeah,
and like wouldn't look away from you, and you were like, and he was kind of like, and then you like walk in, and the next guy you did it to, he just was staring at you the whole time, and you were he was like turning while you're doing it, and you kind of were like, you got something on your shirt, and he was just like staring at you, didn't say anything, and then you were like,
then he did go,
and then he did, and then he did it. And you're like, and then he just grabbed your hand. And then I remember like all of us were kind of like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? Yeah. And he like held your hand for a little bit, and then like let go of it. And then
I don't remember that part.
Like, yeah, he grabbed your hand.
Oh, he fist bumped you?
Like, he fist bumped.
Oh, okay.
But you could tell
we're good.
It was like
a little smirk. Maybe he was like fucked up or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was a moment because like you're
breaking
also wearing
a chain. He was also wearing a chain, so it could have been like, hey, you got something.
Oh yeah.
Oh maybe yeah. But I just think also like in general, you're. Especially like on a crowded street like that, you're like breaking this barrier of like, because first off, you're getting really close, which is one thing, but then you're touching them.
Right.
And it's like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's not
like how scared were you? Were you scared?
No, I don't
remember
him
fast.
grabbing. It was very fast.
Yeah. But I mean, the rest of us, right afterward, Rosie was like, I was so ready to fucking throw our hands right now. And then like I was thinking the same thing. Like it was like a moment. They didn't even have enough time to process, but it was just a moment where I was like, oh god, okay, something might happen right now. We might.
Yeah.
You know,
have you guys been in a fight before?
Yeah.
Like in general.
Yeah.
Not in my adult life.
Yeah.
Not like with another adult as an adult.
Well, yeah, I guess not as an adult.
But as a kid, yeah.
In like either late middle school or early high school, there was this one dude in my class. His name was Grigor. He was
Is he Armenian?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
I'm Armenian.
He was huge. He was like a really, really big guy, and just kind of like it's doing this stupid shit. Just kind of like slow, like like he wasn't. I don't know if he was like all there mentally.
He walked really slow.
Yeah, that too. He was just fucking huge. Like he was fucking big, and I was on the field with a bunch of like my friends, and we were all just like having fun, fucking like tackling each other, fucking grabbing each other. And then Grieger came up to me. He like grabbed my hand, and I fucking I do.
Just about to say, like you're saying this, and I'm like, oh
yeah.
He's like, what are those belts for?
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, I'm gonna fix this shit.
Back to the story.
All right.
I actually didn't think about. I always forget
tongue
that.
sudo. That's pretty
Man
crazy.
can fuck somebody up.
Why do we like it?
I don't know. Well,
all right, now we're getting some bullshit.
Yeah,
so,
but
so Dan's a black belt, as we just realized.
Yeah. So
it's important to the story.
At that point, like, yeah, and he grabbed me, and I can get out of stuff like that pretty easily. Like it's because it's one of the first things that they teach you how to like get out of.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to, when they grab you, you kind of target the section like in between their thumb and their finger,
the
it's
weakest.
Weak. Yeah, and you just slip out. So I just kept on slipping out, and he kept on like trying to grab me harder.
Were you using that move? You like grabbing your wrist?
Yeah, he would grab my wrist, and I would just flip it over and fucking get out. And he started getting really frustrated.
Right, I was about to say frustrating.
Yeah, because he was like...
Well, he's just messing around at first, though. He's not like...
Yeah, but he, at first he's messing around, but I think
so he's messing around. Yeah, you escalated.
No, I really didn't. Fuck. You goddamn it, see?
Yeah. Why did you do
that? Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you, Tadeh? I'm just trying to tell a fucking story. You're being a dick. But yeah, so I was getting out of it, and he kept kind of getting more frustrated, and then he kept grabbing. I'm like, okay, dude, like, chill out. Like, you don't need to take it that seriously. And then he just kept going. I'm like, Grieger, like, stop, man. And he kept going. I'm like, dude, okay, seriously, stop. If you don't stop, I'm going to fucking hit you. Like, stop touching me. And he grabbed me again, so I got out of it, and I punched him in the stomach, and then I started walking away. I was like, dude, I fucking told you. And then I started walking away.
Did you punch him, like, here?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's he like?
It wasn't even a hard punch or anything, but it was like literally just like fucking like, dude, like stop.
Yeah.
And I started walking away, and as I'm walking away, he like grabs me by my shoulder and punches me in the face.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden we're just like in this like showdown. We're like in a fight. Yeah. I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm sitting there like, okay, whatever. He's like trying to swing on me, and it really didn't last very long. Like he like tried to swing on me and he missed, and then he tried to swing again, and I like went under it and I kicked him in the stomach, and then it just I don't know, it was fucking stupid.
In that moment when it like came up, did you like I really wonder like what went through your head, because as somebody who has trained in what is it, karate?
Yeah, whatever you can call it.
Yeah, taekwondo, whatever it is.
Tang Sudo is the style.
Oh, Tang Sudo.
Is it karate? Is that a branch of karate?
Yeah, it's Korean. It was brought to America. It's like American Tang Sudo.
That's the whole history of it. We just
brought to America by Chuck Norris, by Chuck motherfucking Norris.
That's right. This is where I've heard Tang Sudo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No wonder you got the facial hair.
Yeah, see that's why I did it, because he's my
fist under the chin.
Facial hair inspo.
I'm gonna post really quick about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say I really wonder what went through your head, because I know like in a moment like that when like a fight breaks out in the moment or whatever, I feel like you kind of get heated and things get blurry really fast.
I don't know what the fuck was. God damn it, I hate it.
I don't know what's
I hate it. I'm gonna fix it one more time. If it does it again, we're just doing the rest of the fucking podcast like this.
All good.
Yeah, I wonder what it is.
I don't know. I think it's just because I have to do all these workarounds with fucking with Soundflower.
Again?
It's _hummingbird.
Nice. Did you post about it though?
I posted. I tagged you.
I don't like being able to see myself. Just judging myself. I'm like, ooh, that's how I look.
I see myself. I can't stop looking at myself.
And it's like kind of reverse.
Yeah,
like
I can't tell where to adjust my hair from. There we go. That's the side. Do you record this too?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I posted on YouTube later.
Oh, cool.
Okay, but it's like 1 second. Well, hopefully it don't start doing that shit again. What were we saying? Do you remember?
Chuck Norris, Tang Sudo.
No, I was saying I was asking like what goes through your head. Like, so my question really is like, when he punched you in the face, did it get blurry, or were you just immediately resorting to like your training? Like,
yeah, it wasn't like even there wasn't even any thought that went along with it. It's just I was in this scenario and I'm fighting, and it's not even like I'm thinking about my training. It's just the training is there.
It's ingrained
already. Yeah, so it's just like kind of instinctual, and it's like
that's an interesting thought or interesting thing in general, because I forget who it is. Someone's talking about music in the same way, where it's like a lot of what you do as a musician is train yourself like for the things that you do on that instrument to be natural, and then you can just sort of, I guess, improvise, or like you can just express yourself through like naturally. So like what you're saying, like the movements, the training and stuff, it's not like something you have to think about and be like, I have to do this and I have to do that. Yeah. But it's more like just
and it's an art form, you know, it's martial arts.
Right, yeah.
It's like so it's like almost like a dance that you do, but it's like when your dance partner doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, then you can kind of take advantage of that. Yeah. It sucks because like if I am defending myself and I really hurt somebody, I'm held very liable because I have the fucking training. Because the whole thing is that I should have the fucking like wherewithal to not fucking kill them or whatever.
See, that doesn't really make sense to me though. It's like, well, then why did you fucking train?
It's just to defend yourself, I guess. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. If you're defending yourself, then what is it?
You know,
I thought it's like if you do it, if you get like in a fight, then it's like that's obviously it's considered like because I remember like
assault,
like boxer, exactly, something like that.
I think I'm technically supposed to be registered. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know how that works. Yeah.
He's a registered lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Damn.
See these babies? Don't look at them too hard. You might die. But I don't know. But and then so I kick him, and then it just kind of like doesn't really go much further than that because my friend Eric stepped in and he started like taking me away. He's like, dude, like don't fucking deal with this shit. Like it's not worth it. And then he turns around and he's like, hey, fuck you, and he moons them and shows them all his butthole.
Wow.
No, my friend Eric took me away. Like as we're walking away.
Not a bad tactic.
Honestly, it was pretty bad.
I've been in a situation like that.
Huh?
Is it the Eric that was there last night?
No, not that Eric. Yeah, wow. No, imagine.
I've been in a situation where I tried to break up a fight. I tried to break up a fight that was like breaking out between a landlord and one of the tenants, and it was in Berkeley, and they were going in the street. The guy was like pushing down a trash can, and they were getting louder and louder and stuff like that. And it was gonna break into a fight, and then I was like, I pulled down my pants with just my boxers on, and like tried to walk next to them to break up the fight, to just
by like distracting them.
Yeah. And
are you fucking with me? Or are
I'm not. This is a true story.
You pulled down your pants to try and stop the fight?
Yes. Yeah. And this is not. I'm not making this up. I did that, and I remember the two of them were in it, and they both did break eye contact with each other, but it didn't do what I thought it would. It wasn't like.
What did you think was gonna happen?
I thought that they would just stop. Like, okay, this is getting okay. We're broken out of our anger.
Yeah, his dick's out. Like, I don't know if he's getting. You should have got hard.
No,
that would have made them stop. You look like you were really into it.
Maybe that's what it was. It was just like, oh, he's just in his boxers. Those just look like short shorts. Maybe it wasn't shocking enough.
Yeah, I mean, people walk around like that in general. It's just called sagging.
True. No. It was.
Oh, like all the way down.
It was like I tried distracting them, but they didn't fight. But it's not about So your friend was in the right.
Yeah,
it's just
there
like
we go.
This will end.
I have a story about Tadeh. Once,
I don't know.
Like a couple of years ago, Tadeh used to throw these shows at like at a bar, and he'd have like other people come and perform and stuff. And he's performing that night, and I guess I didn't notice, but I guess this guy had been like staring at him and kind of
staring
like
at us
laughing,
and
like
laughing
pointing and laughing and stuff at him while he was performing, because the bar is open to anybody. So there's a bunch of us there that are there for the show, and a bunch of random other people. So this guy, I guess, was staring at him and like pointing and laughing and stuff. And at some point after the performance, I'm standing there talking to Tadeh, and I notice his eyes, like his eye contact break and kind of just like go behind me. He's like looking at something behind me, and I'm kind of like, okay, what's going on? And like in the middle of the conversation, and he's kind of like looking, and he's like, what? Or I forget. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, what, man? Like,
no, he said it first.
He might have said something. Yeah. And then you were like, what? And you were like, well, you keep pointing and laughing, man. Like, what? Like, what's so funny? Or like something like that. And the guy like starts walking up. So I like turn around. This guy's like walking up. He's there with his date, and he's like a big dude. He's like a juice head.
Oh shit!
Big guy. Big guy.
And like walks up, and I'm like, oh Jesus, what the fuck's going on? And then they just start arguing. I mean, I don't know if you have a better account of this story than I do.
Totally, 100%. I remember word for word, verbatim. No, I do remember. I mean, like he was being a dick the whole time. Like he was looking, and it was me and my friend. We were doing like improvising stuff. Like he was freestyling, and I was improvising beats, and it was bad. It was bad. Keep in mind, it was not good. It was like the first time we never rehearsed it. Like we were trying.
So you're just doing it
on stage was the first time we have heard it. So it was not good.
Yeah.
And like, he's like pointing and laughing, and they're making, and shaking his head and stuff like that. And then after, I remember I was in the conversation, and then he was like, he did the what's good thing. And I was like, what's up? And then I was drunk also. Like there's that was giving me some.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Whatever. The point that I was getting at to him was like, we're just over here doing our thing, and like you're just making fun of it,
Yeah.
And like You're
but the
being
guy
rude.
was mad.
He was pissed.
Damn.
He was
why?
like
Because you
angry
like
and
called
heated.
him out?
Got called out. I don't know what it was.
Well, because
like,
he probably didn't want, like, he probably thought Tadeh was just gonna be like, oh, like I don't want, but he was kind of like, what, dude? Like you're being an asshole, or like whatever.
Like he felt
and
challenged.
The guy like came up and
Okay.
exactly.
And then
the
he's
guy
got his
came
date
up-
here
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
fucking chill.
and then I was also telling her, I was like,
Well,
he's an asshole. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Also,
like,
but
you know?
this guy comes up to Tadeh like in front of him, like, and is like, "What do you want to do? Like, let's go outside." Like, blah blah blah. Like, he's like trying to fight him. Like, he's like, and Tadeh's like, "I'm not gonna fight you." Tadeh's like, he's like, "Dude, you're like twice my size, dude. I'm not gonna fucking fight you. Like, you're obviously gonna beat me up. Like, what does that prove?" He's like, "You're a fucking asshole. You're just like a dick." And the guy's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I'm doing it." He's like, "I'm doing it right now. I'm telling you, you're a dick." Like, and blah blah blah. And then he's like telling the girl, he's like, "You need to rethink who you date." I remember he said that.
Yeah.
You need to rethink who you go on a date with, because this guy's an asshole. And he's kind of just like, well, let's go outside. Like, well, he's like, no, I'm not gonna fight you. I just told you. Like, what the fuck? This guy did not know what the fuck to do because he wanted to fight. That was the only thing that he knew he had on him. And Tadeh was just like, no. He was just like, I'm not, like, whatever. And he's like angry, and he just like is exploding on the inside, like doesn't know what the fuck. He's malfunctioning. And I was like, holy. I remember like just watching this, like being like, holy shit, Tadeh, like you are so brave right now. Like, I can't believe you're about to get punched in the face. And then obviously like enough of a scene was created that like everyone that was there, like the majority of the people in that bar were there like to see him and like his whole show. So we all knew him. So we like surround him, like a shitload of us. And then like, I don't remember who it was, but some other guy was like, dude, walk away. Like there's.
I think it was Nick.
It might have been. I don't know. Yeah. But there was like 20 of us. He's like, dude, walk away. We're gonna be it's like, there's like way too many of us. And then the girlfriend was like, he's not worth it. Like, it's fine. And like, they left or whatever.
It was disrespectful though.
100%.
It was, but it was fucking awesome.
That's the only story. Like, I mean, like that. Like, I could end this and be like, yeah, there's a bunch more of those. But that's the only time in my life anything like that.
Where you fucking stood up.
Ever happened, you know?
The other tactic is take a look at for your pants.
It's a fight or flight. It's one of those things though. It's like you don't know how you're gonna act when that kind of thing pops off in the moment. It's hard to like be like, oh, I remember I told myself I'd be the guy who did this. You know, I told myself that I'd be the guy who stood up and didn't cower. It's like, no, in the moment, like you're just gonna react how you fucking react.
I always think about that shit when it comes to like fucking like shootings or something. Like, what if somebody like bursts through the fucking door?
I think about that too.
Shooting. Like, what do I do?
What am I gonna do right now?
Am I gonna fucking protect people? Am I gonna fucking lay my life on the line? Am I gonna fucking run away like a bitch?
Scary moments.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
But I don't know either. Yeah, I'd probably run away.
But my first reaction when shit goes down is usually to run directly at whatever's going on. And it's a bad habit, too, because it gets me in trouble.
How do you know that that's what?
Because there's been plenty of times where shit has gone fucking awry, and I immediately run to it. There's been times where just like, because for some reason, I've been around a lot of fights breaking out. Mm-hmm. Like, not a lot, I guess, but like a handful of fights breaking out. Yeah. And I always run directly into the fight, even if I don't fucking know them. Like there was this time
you got that black belt behind. Do you feel maybe it's like
maybe because I am just secure, because having the training makes me feel more secure in general.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
that's the shit that always gets me. Like, I mean, there's been like weird creeps that have called out like Rosie, you know, on the street and stuff, and like those are the moments that I get so like frozen. You know what I mean? Because it's like I don't know what this person is capable of, and my instinct is like, let's just keep going. Yeah, because I don't know.
It's healthier, honestly. Probably.
Yeah. You're probably better off, but
there's been times like I used to work at a movie theater, and there was I was walking into a theater with my coworker, and we're going down like you know how there's like hallways and you get inside. And as we're just talking, and then as we turn a corner, we look, and there's a fucking huge brawl breaking out with like 5 or 6 dudes all on the ground fucking punching the shit out of each other. I just run straight into it. I'm like trying to break people up. But I don't know if anybody has a fucking knife or like I don't even know what the fuck's going on at this point.
Yeah.
But I run straight into it. Or another time I was at a restaurant with Hannah, and people just started fighting, and I just fucking ran into it. Like, I was sat down eating. Jesus. They were outside of the restaurant. It was like outdoor dining. Yeah. It was at the mall at H2O.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how there's like the outdoor area? I ran from my seat into the fucking fight.
Jesus.
And I wasn't even, and I don't think about it.
Did you like punch somebody?
No. I just started trying to get people like away from each other.
Have you ever thought about, do you come from a military family?
No. Okay. I mean, my grandpa, my dad.
Have you ever thought about the Marines?
No, I don't want to do
that's
that.
Like their. That's like their.
It's like a recruiting.
That's a recruiting thing. They're like, where there is the fight, we send the Marines.
Like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, that's really not my fight. I really don't give a fuck. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's just a weird fucking instinctual thing. And I think that applies to like a lot of areas in my life. And that it's helped me in some ways, fucking go for shit. But also it's like, I don't always know what I'm getting myself into before I go head first. Huh? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Good looks. See, I want to train and get that training for that reason exactly. Because like when stuff pops off, I want to have like something... Not to fall back on, but like, you know what I mean? Like I want to have like some kind of thing ingrained in me that I'm like, okay, I know that I'm prepared, I guess, or something.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah. I also think about it like, I just remember like growing up and always wrestling with like my cousin and stuff like that. And like, I remember my like grandpa, he would teach us these things. And it was like part of it growing up, just like the athleticism behind fighting and, a little sparring and stuff like that. And it is something that I've been thinking is just like, I'd be interested in like going back into it purely for like the athleticism or the art form of it itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think everybody should.
But then it's also just a good thing to have in case some shit goes on.
Yeah.
It's also just discipline. Like straight up, it is a discipline. Like one thing that they really ingrain is respect and not like in a forceful way, but it's just like, you respect people. You get your ass kicked by somebody, you're not gonna get mad at them. It's like it's a mutual sort of respect that you have because you do spar, and like you also have to put in as a discipline, and like you have to push yourself further than you would normally, and they expect that of you too. And it's like
totally
to be able to push past those barriers is like really fulfilling.
How long did it take you to like how many years did you do?
I started when I was really young. I started when I was a kid, and I was doing it with my dad for a long time, and I got up to like a red belt for a while, and then we stopped for a couple years, and then we got back into it, and then I got my black belt. Then I stayed in for another few years after that, and I got my second degree black belt. And then I left again for like a long chunk, and then like a year and a half ago, I had started back up again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then Corona hit and really fucked up everything in regards to that because like there was no more sparring, there was no more anything. So it's like, I was like, this just doesn't feel, because one, it kind of costs a lot of money to train there. But then I'm like, if I'm not even able to spar or anything, like it just doesn't feel kind of like worth it right now. Plus, a lot of the students just weren't coming because of Corona.
You'd just be like, then trying to get a third degree black belt, etc.
Yeah, and then also like I went back to the same studio with the same instructor, and I love him. Fucking Brandon Kemmer, amazing instructor. But I also just wanted to start trying to do a different style at some point because I'm like, I've gotten this far. It's been a couple of years since I've been back, and like I would kind of want to start fresh again and like feel that sort of thing of like starting at nothing.
Dude, let's fucking do boxing. I want to do boxing.
Fuck.
I feel like it's
boxing together.
It's weird, you know how like the boxing matches have been coming up recently. I feel like it's actually like weirdly revitalizing it.
Yeah,
I've been seeing people boxing more.
Yeah,
it's like because I'm hearing a bunch of criticism with like these like celebrity matches and everything like that. But at the same time, all of a sudden I feel like a bunch of people are starting to box again. Or like
I mean, I think maybe the celebrity thing probably helped. Like as much as I hate to admit it. Like I think it probably helped people like be like, oh, this is lame, but boxing's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like,
right.
But it is, and I mean, I just think it's like a great way to stay in shape.
Yeah. Boxing's fucking sick. I think if I wanted to do another style, I would still want something that incorporates kicking and grappling and stuff too, because I feel like that's important. Like especially grappling. Part of me wants to do like Brazilian jiu-jitsu because that's pretty much all grappling.
It's all grappling, yeah.
But it's like.
What about Muay Thai?
Muay Thai.
That's the really one, dude. Do you know where Muay Thai comes from? The like original Muay Baran or something?
Right?
No, but like the original form of Muay Thai.
No.
It was Muay Baran.
No.
And that's like where Muay Thai like that's the precursor of Muay Thai, where they used to like tie rope around their hands and then put it in glass and then they would fight to the death in front of the king.
Whoa.
That was the gladiator fights.
Yeah.
That's
whoa.
Yeah. That's like different though.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Gladiator fights, they have like armor and shit.
No, but like that's where it was the standing
Yeah.
kick. But then
God
they
damn.
put ropes and stuff.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muay Thai sounds cool too, but like actually funny enough, I have a couple friends that like I don't know anybody that does boxing really, so I would have to kind of figure out even where I'd want to do that on my own. But I have a couple friends that do Muay Thai that have invited me before, and I've always been like, maybe. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of just doing regular boxing. Mm-hmm. But kickboxing could be cool too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just like, because like if a fight goes to the ground and you don't know what you're doing, you might be kind of fucked.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if somebody, especially if they're bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like if you really don't know what to do, because a lot of times fights do go to the ground. So once you're there, if they're bigger than you and you don't know what you're doing, they're just gonna overpower you.
That's true.
So if you have at least the training to know like specific like ways to get out of those kind of situations, if somebody's on top of you, how to like shoot your hips out and stuff, and like, you do it enough times, you're good.
I guess I never like. I guess up to this point, I haven't thought about it as like a defense mechanism thing. As a self-defense thing.
Yeah. Why do you do that, JD? Why do you Freudian slip like that?
I haven't thought of it as like as a self-defense thing. I've only really thought of it as like a fun thing. So
yeah.
I've been like, oh, boxing, cool. But you're right. Like if I'm thinking of like what would be the most beneficial thing for me, like overall in terms of like defending myself, it'd probably be something that incorporates groundwork. But I don't know. I want to try a couple different things.
Yeah,
anyway.
whatever. Yeah, try everything.
And I want to dance.
Yeah.
Dance.
What kind of dancing?
So I just found out that I think the kind of dancing that I want to do is called choreo.
Choreo.
Which is just choreography.
Okay.
Learning choreography. Because I just would watch people doing these choreographed dances, and like it was hard to like be like, is this
like what style?
Is this hip hop? Is it like it's incorporating a little bit of every different style? But I always really loved it, and I was like, fuck, like I really want to learn how to do that. And then I asked a friend, and he was like, yeah, I used to dance all the time, or blah blah blah. I did a bunch of different kinds of dance. And I was like, oh, maybe you can tell me. So I like showed him a video of like what I was talking about. He's like, that's choreo. And I was like, oh, that's what.
So what is that? Is it like a mix of?
Yeah, it's a mix of stuff. But you just kind of learn like whereas routine. I think other dances you learn like the kind of like basic dance, and then you kind of like whatever. This is just you just learn dances like full on like choreographies. You know, like so one of them might include some ballet steps, some hip hop things, whatever.
It's kind of mixed.
Yeah, it's mixed all over the place and stuff. But I don't really, I don't really want to like learn like one dance style like from the ground up per se.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to like I don't know, dance. I just kind of want to do a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean though?
Dance.
Like I don't want to like sit there and like okay, only one like thing and then do that one thing forever or like whatever. Like I kind of just want to like have a lot of things to like have a lot of like dance moves then just in my repertoire to kind of pull out at any moment, because I feel like that's what I do now anyway. Like I'm not a very good dancer, but like I think I can move. You
have like a set of moves too that are like in
sort
there.
Yeah, that I know I can do and etc. And so they kind of like and I'm pretty good at like chaining them together in a way that makes sense during a song. So if I'm like dancing to a song, I'll be like, okay, I know I can go from this to this thing and then this thing, and I kind of like can feel it and do it.
Yeah.
But my repertoire is really small, so it's like just feels like I'm repeating shit all the time.
Right.
So I want to just grow that so I can keep doing that, applying that skill of being able to just pull something out and then do the next thing and do the next thing.
I feel that. I feel like I rely on a similar thing. Yeah. That's really cool for about 30 seconds, and then I'm like, I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it is just like, it's just moving and stuff. I'm thinking specifically like, going out and like dancing at a place.
Sure.
But then there's those moments where it's like, oh shit, like everybody's doing their whole thing. And then I hit the same sort of like wavy thing and then do some like stuff like that. Yeah. And it looks cool. But then after that, I'm like, I have nowhere to go from here. I have actually I've been doing like I told you too, like I was going to go to the Armenian dance before here.
Oh, yeah.
To learn that sort of thing. I did notice the other day when we were at the club, like I was stepping in a way that we step in the Armenian thing. It's kind of like a stomp. Oh. And then I like back up and then like a stomp sort of thing. And I realized that I was doing it. So it's kind of like that sort of thing. It's like the more things you have in the arsenal, it's like your body kind of just like naturally does it at appropriate times.
Right. I mean, and I think it's interesting to think about dance is like, because it's one thing to like see a dance or even like watch a tutorial or something of a dance, and it's like, okay, you have to move your hip to here and then blah blah blah. There's like this very specific like instruction, but then when you do it, it might not look the same because it's really about how it feels.
Oh yeah,
like there's like resistance involved. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like you might be following step by step the same dance, but if you can't like feel it the way that it's supposed to be felt, then it won't actually translate the same way. And so that's something that's interesting and that feels really good. Is like that's the thing about my repertoire of dances is that the things that because there's other things that I've watched people do that I could try to do, but I don't know how to do it. Right. Does that make sense? Like even though I can see what you're doing, I can, you know what I mean? It's like I can put it together as to like what you're doing, but I can't do it. I don't know how to like feel it and apply the same kind of resistance to my body to make it look the same way. But the few dance moves that I do know, I feel it. I can feel that it's good. I feel that it's right. Yeah. Because it's like not just me moving my body in that way. It's like I can feel the resistance. I can feel myself like in the thing.
Hit me with your best dance move.
I don't even know what my best dance move is.
Dude, I've been doing this one dance move that's, you know, that like the meme of the kid with the sunglasses.
Oh yeah. I love that one.
Dude, that's been like my go-to club dance move because like so this is another thing like and right now we're talking about like two different types of dances. I think there's like one that like dance is the art form, then there's the one that I'm thinking about of just like
dancing in a club,
dancing in the club like on the weekends, just like I mean still dancing right. But I mean, first of all, that kid, like, you know, he has the sunglasses on, right? Which has been like a whole revelation in dancing in a crowd and stuff like that. Because when you have the sunglasses on, you can put that on and you're like protected in a weird way. Yeah. You like suddenly feel.
Can I get your sunglasses, JD?
It's not just in clubs or whatever. I always say sunglasses give me superpowers.
It's in general, for sure.
In general, like it just you feel better.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense
because you have an edge on everybody. You know?
Yeah, you're protected. Yeah. I mean, with these glasses, for example, you can see your eyes, but the ones where you can't see your eyes,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
is ones where you're like, you don't know what I'm looking at right
now. Yeah. But sometimes you do, and then you see shifty eyes, and you're like, whoa, chill out with those. No, but so then that, you know, that kid like has that sort of thing, and I swear I've been putting on the glasses and we're at the club, and I start like doing that sort of thing, and I'm like. It's, you know, it's a fucking like 7-year-old dancing, but I'm like, that's the thing that I'm, you know what I mean?
Because like, what it is when you're in that space, you just have to not give a fuck, you know? Like a kid doesn't give a shit about anything. Totally. So it's like they just let loose. If you can just fucking let loose, but it doesn't matter what you do.
You let loose, but if you don't know how to dance or if you don't have anything in the repertoire, you let loose and you look stupid, which is fine. Yeah. Whatever. Right? When you're at the club, but I mean, like, there is.
If you're trying to do it in front of people, like. As like a showcase of like what you can do or whatever.
Not even just that.
You know, you're not gonna just.
There's also just a good feeling. There's also just a good feeling in like doing it and knowing that you're doing it well.
Yeah,
in a certain way, like or like whatever. I know it's subjective as to what's good or not, but like you're doing it in a way that it looks the way you think it looks.
Yeah, and also
you know what I mean? It's translating.
It's probably easier to think about it less too.
Oh yeah,
you're ready.
Because you have. It's like with the martial arts thing.
Yeah,
it's like, you know. You can think about these things, you can think about these techniques or whatever, but when you do them enough times, you don't have to think about it anymore. You can kind of just like react.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I was gonna say when you were talking about the fight that you were in. As I was like, you weren't thinking, you were just reacting to what was happening. Something happens, you have a natural reaction that your body goes to in the moment because you have this already like programming. The same with dancing, like you could just reacting to the music, you know what I mean? You're kind of just like it's coming and you're kind of doing it and in this very like you know, it's in the moment. It's not like a pre-planned whatever. You know, it's kind of like quick. It's like improvisation or you know, like freestyling. You know. Or something.
And it's just it's like a more clear form of expression because it's like a language too. You know, like Absolutely. You communicate certain things and like how you're moving. So like
totally,
the more fluent you get at a language, the less you think about the words that you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it just it's fun. It's just fun. That's something and the athleticism is something that I'm interested in as well. It's a great way to just do exercise and stuff, but learn something that I've always been interested in, and that's fun.
Yeah, it's also a good way to like be athletic and also connect with music too. Sometimes it's like you're directly working with things that you're interested in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
you're
no, definitely. I think about that too. I mean, And I think about even like, okay, I'm gonna do performances at some point. Like I might want to dance during performances. Like why not? Yeah. Or in a music video or blah blah blah. Yeah. You know, whatever that is. So I'd definitely be interested in it. And also, the thing about all these things that I think I am interested in, as well in terms of martial arts and dance or any of these things, is like the culture of it and the community aspect. You know, it's like meeting people who are into it as well, who I can learn from, and etc. And like, you know, making friends through these interests as well.
That's what I was excited about with skating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I bet it's gonna be cool just meeting people in the community too, and like they have a very specific sort of mindset of just like fucking going for shit sometimes. Or
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I felt it would have been cool.
No, I know that you broke your ankle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I haven't even said that shit on here, but yeah, not the reason I stopped doing the podcast, but in between when I stopped and now I broke my ankle. Yeah. And I tried to go skating.
But it actually still hang out at the skate park.
What would you say?
You can still hang out at the skate park.
I don't want to.
Well, and I'd say I'd also say like
support people.
Go cheer them on.
For one, I was gonna say like I used to skate. I mean, I was in like middle school and stuff, but I would skate with people of all different ages, and like I wasn't just like I actually never went to a skate park really when I was skating, or just skate on the street.
Yeah.
And so like there was this Taco Bell that had like this parking lot outside of it that was like just looked like it wasn't a skate park, but it had like curbs and it had like, you know, all kinds of stuff that you could skate. So it was like a great spot. So me and a couple friends would go all the time, and then there would just always be other people there skating. So I met a shitload of people that way, and I made a lot of good friends, which was really, really cool and fun. And it's like you said, like a lot of the mentality is just kind of go, go, go. It's like very like I would get home from school. I wouldn't do homework. I was a terrible student. So I just immediately leave my house and go out and skate all day until nighttime and then come home. And that meant different things. Like I go to that spot and then talk to some people. Maybe they're like, oh, there's another spot like at a school over here. So we skate over there. And then we skate like down the block that way. And then we go over here. And then we take the bus over here. We're just all over the place. And then I skate fucking home. And then that was it. I was in like 7th grade, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember one time my mom was driving, like I was like blocks away from home. And she was driving by and she saw me skating on the sidewalk and she like stopped and was super angry because I was so far away from the house.
Oh, shit.
I was too young really, but like I was just with my friends and stuff. I was just kind of like letting it. I was just going wherever. But so I was going to say you'd be right in what you were assuming of like it is a cool community. It's a fun community to be a part of. But then also I was going to say like, you know, I know that it's probably, you know, you probably don't really want to like skate again, or you probably feel some type of way about it. But if you could manage to at some point,
that's how I feel. You know, like after it happened, I was like, fuck, I still want to. Because I'm gonna feel like a bitch in a way, like to myself if I can't get back on it again afterwards. Like,
no, you feel like a bitch to all of us.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, but
my parents want me to get rid of the fucking board. My dad's like, "Where's that board?" I'm like, "Oh, it's still in my truck." He's like, "Yeah, get rid of it." I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame you at all for not doing it. But, well, first of all, I think you could do it in ways that are a lot safer, first off. Because, yeah, it's one thing to have, like, knee pads and shit. But you tried to fucking drop in a bowl. I've never done that. I skated for, like, 3 years. I never did it once.
Yeah.
So, and you did it on your first day. So
my like, first day back.
I think you could take it easy and do it and do much safer things. I mean, I skated for 3 years and I never broke a bone. Yeah. I never seriously injured myself in any way.
I was in a weird headspace that day. I think that was it too. It was just like I was in a weird fucking.
And I think you definitely bit off more than you could chew. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? You're bound to get hurt. And like, so my point being though that I think you could do it in a way without risking getting that hurt again. I mean, obviously it would take a while for you to get back to that point anyway, but it would also just be cool to like know that you didn't have to like resign, you know, that desire because of an accident. It's like you were able to like overcome that and be like, okay, I'm gonna skate anyway.
It would take a while, you know, before I feel like I could, because even now walking is a fucking task.
Well,
like,
right.
Even that's the next fucking thing that I have to face and like start walking.
Yeah.
But
there's so many communities though. I mean, outside of skating.
Yeah.
Just none like it. Huh?
That was interesting. Like the other day, when I was going to Walmart, and we like go into Walmart at nighttime, like right before they close, and there's huge car meet sort of thing, you know, huge car meet. It's like 100 cars and cars and everything like that.
In the Walmart parking lot?
It was in Porter Ranch, the Walmart thing. It's always weird coming across that stuff because then it's like you're reminded that just like there's always these communities running, and it's their own little subcultures, and then there's like the heroes of those groups, and it's just everything.
Yeah, my dad's
like
super
into
ecosystems.
Yeah. No,
it's
absolutely. Awesome. I think that's something that I look forward to as I get older. Is like kind of, I don't know how to put that. Huh?
Car meets.
Yeah, car meets.
Yo, okay, hold on. This is completely unrelated. Can we start a D&D fucking thing?
Yeah.
Tadeh,
Can
we do it?
Does Dan know about D&D?
No, he doesn't know.
Oh.
What, do you guys play?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, not really.
Yeah.
It's not D&D. I mean, tell him. Just explain it.
It's not D&D straight, like, from D&D from, like, the D&D world or anything like that, but it's loosely based off the rules of it. But yeah, we've had a campaign. We've like met 3 times for it, where it's like 80s themes.
Yeah,
like
so Tadeh wrote it.
Yeah.
Tadeh created the world and wrote the story.
Yeah.
And then like,
so you're the dungeon master.
I'm the
he's
dungeon
a dungeon master, and then like,
or in this,
the disco master.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
and there's like, how many of us? 8 of us.
There's like 8. A lot. There's a lot of people.
And we all created our own characters. We have like names, powers.
And the world is all like, it's like this thing that's it's like almost like a mix of like sci-fi and fantasy. So there's elements of magic in it, but it's like emphasized through electronics and gadgets and shit
through
like
this
that.
80s world.
Yeah,
where like it's supposed to be like the Goonies or like Stranger Things or something that kind of movie.
They're in their middle of their first dungeon.
It's been really interesting. Like, it's a cool thing though, because like, I don't know, I still don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
So it's like, he knows, but like every time we go, he kind of knows. Yeah, because then obviously we make all these decisions, so it's hard to.
So do you have to like write it each week or something? Like, kind of.
Before we go, there's definitely like some level of preparation, kind of like checking in, like, okay, where are we? Like, what can I put in this space where like that can make it more interesting? Last time we left off, like one of the people got completely separated from the whole crew.
Yeah, we had to go rescue.
Completely separated. Yeah. So now it's like, okay, now are they on a rescue mission and this sort of thing? So what potentially could happen in that sort of space? But it's dude.
But you can't really plan for that. Like it couldn't, like her getting separated from us was definitely, I would not imagine was in the plan whatsoever. Just was, she made a decision that ended up getting her separated from us.
Yeah, she rolled a 1. It was a true 1. So it should have been a death, honestly, because it was a crucial moment. But fuck that.
You didn't want to just kill someone off.
Yeah.
It's a really, you should definitely I'd be down to like help you out with it and stuff like that. It's really, really fun.
That sounds fun.
The thing that drew me to it was like the aspect of like collaboration with people, like you're improvising like a story together. It's the kind of thing that I always like think, and like there's something magical about like dice to begin with, what I mean? I don't know what it is. I think it's just the fact that there's so much randomness in it. Yeah. And randomness.
Is it really random?
Right, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And there's kind of, it's intertwined with, the fabric of everything.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
But
fabric of time.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I always think about like the simplicity of it is just imagination and dice. And I think about like post-apocalypse shit in terms of like what will exist as entertainment forms in the post-apocalypse, and like obviously stories are going to exist, but like there's going to be collaborative stories as well of fucking sitting around. I don't know. I always think about that shit,
No, it's true.
It's really cool.
Post-apocalypse is just the same thing as pre fucking like modern times,
Pre-modern time.
It's just gonna blast us back into like
kind of,
where
but
we were before. I think
like there will be differences though, because the unless you like could wipe everyone's memory or like something.
That's true. I mean, but it's generational, like after a couple generations, it's going to be what their reality is. Like, if they're building from scratch again.
I feel like a lot of people, like, I mean, I think if you took a lot of this shit away from us, like most of us would be pretty fucking clueless. But like, I think a lot of us if you killed off like half the human population right now, which is a really dark thought, but, and you took away all, technology in cities and all that kind of stuff. It would definitely be a struggle and everything, but I feel like even now we would know a certain amount of things that definitely people like, or that most likely people, millions of years ago didn't know. So even though the technology we would not have anymore, we'd have this knowledge of like, we know that these things can't exist, and we know that like
sure
whatever,
okay
like,
so
how long would it take though, like if all the computers got wiped off the planet?
Well, not nearly as long as it did the first time.
Yeah, not nearly.
Because we know
definitely,
now.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then
we know what gravity. We know we're not
like
the center of the galaxy.
Yeah. And it would also like regenerate in a different way too. Like
you
know what's insane? I don't know if you guys have heard about this thing, but
wait. I want to say something about apocalypse though, real quick. No, it's good. No, because it was interesting. Like you said, the apocalypse would look like pre-modern. I remember hearing this thing that was super interesting about how like there's this obsession with apocalypse right now because we're facing like all this like global stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
But then there's this person that said like there have been people that have already faced and lived through apocalypse, and we're just dealing with like colonial apocalypse.
What do you mean?
Like native communities have already faced apocalypse in many ways. You know what I mean? Like the whole
mass extinction events, like
mass extinction,
like genocides and stuff.
Yeah, and also just like the whole ecosystem of where the whole makeup of how they're operating completely wiped away and changed. So it's interesting to think about how like apocalypse is never like the end, and there's been people that have already gone through apocalypse
but I think I don't know, but I would think that the definition of like an apocalypse truly would be the end. So like the end of like humanity as a whole, like the end of the species. So you can't even like reproduce anymore.
Like the planet fucking explodes,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. But when we think about post, like when I brought up D&D,
post-apocalypse, I guess would be
when everybody that's the idea.
I think that there has to be. I feel
so
like
you're saying
apocalypse means
there
that
is already this is already a post-apocalypse for a lot of people.
We're already in a post-apocalypse. We're just kind of facing it for the world that we've set up.
I guess I don't really know like what the definition of apocalypse is.
I feel like it'd have to be at least like fucking like 80% of them wiped out. There's like a far less than majority of the species left.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying though. I mean, that's an interesting thought. I never really thought about it that way.
Right, it kind of blew my mind.
And that's definitely super interesting. Like, I don't know. I guess because you could say like maybe it wasn't the apocalypse for the species, but it's the apocalypse for like a branch.
A people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
We kind of had a conversation in terms of like preserving things and post. We one time had an interesting conversation about like whether it is important or not to preserve culture past apocalypse or whatever.
Right. Well, we were talking about like how different things are a couple generations later and like many generations later. And actually, the interesting thing is like when we were talking about it. We were kind of going back and forth on like, okay, like a lot of the things that are super, super important to us culturally now, we're really only thinking like 1 or 2 generations ahead of us. You know what I mean? But then when we think of like multiple, like hundreds of years from now or whatever, it's easy to be like, well, a lot of this stuff might not be important. And is that okay? Is that not okay? Like, because what we were talking about is like, okay, if we're trying to really preserve, let's say some specific aspect of someone's culture,
a language or
something,
song, a dance.
It's like, is the goal for it to be preserved forever? Like, what's the goal then? Is the goal that it's only going to be preserved for another two generations? Where's the line?
I think about the same thing just in terms of humanity in general. It's is our goal to just exist until the end of time?
Well, so okay, I think that's a different question, maybe, but just because like
it's kind of the same. But no,
I get what you're saying, but like. I think we're talking about like a culture that will exist or die, but humanity will continue. So like your direct descendants might not speak the same language as you anymore. But like, is that okay? 100 years from now, like, should they be concerned that they no longer speak the language of their ancestors? And if that's the case, like now we can say that we kind of are the same way. We've lost a lot of whatever people did 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 200 years ago. And so like,
but I think there's a difference when it's as a result of like innovation versus as if it's a result of like.
But it hasn't only been as a result of innovation up to this point.
As opposed to innovation or what? Like
a genocide.
Oh, okay.
Like, or something being wiped out by this like outside force that.
Well, but so
is specifically trying to fucking.
Right, but and you're right. Some of it has been in that regard. Like some of it has been because of genocide and stuff. But I think in some cases it hasn't even been one or the other. Like, hasn't been on either end of the spectrum. It's just been sort of like, colonialism and other things have like brought upon not just genocide and not just like eradication of culture by death, but just by like assimilation and etc. That just throughout generations kind of starts just getting lost. And you could argue, or I'm sure you could think that like if you give it enough generations, a lot of things will just disappear. You know what I mean? Like, not because they want to, not because like people don't want to speak it anymore, let's say for language or anything, but just because like the way whatever events are happening, it just is like maybe even survival is like the best way to kind of like whatever. My point being though, I don't know. Anyway,
because humans don't think of like
you don't think that far ahead.
Well, they don't think in terms of the entire species for the most part. They think of in terms of their people. You know, it's like even like religion is the same thing.
But some do and some don't.
Right,
That's the conversation that we were having.
Yeah, because it's like taken with like there's like globalists, that they want one. You know what I mean? Like, let's just get under one.
That's totally how I think. I didn't even know there was a word for it. I definitely like
the human race.
Yeah, the fucking species. The fucking what we are.
That's what that was the conversation we were having, was kind of like the back and forth between why one would make sense or why the other one would make sense. And I was going to say right now that since having that conversation, I've like heard more people talk about that sort of perspective of like the human race or the species. And because a lot of people, for example, who are like physicists or people who really, really are interested in space and learning more about the universe, that's a big thing for them, is like thinking about, because they recognize that within their lifetime or even within the next few generations, there's a lot of these questions are not going to be answered. But that doesn't make them any less inclined to try and get a little closer to it. Because they're like, if I can get a little bit closer, maybe 6 generations later, they'll figure it out. And that'll be better. And
that's an argument. That's an argument for oneness.
Not necessarily for oneness, but for wanting to do things for the species, as opposed to just for either your nation or whatever. Yeah. Like thinking of like how can we advance the species. That's definitely like one thing that I think a lot of like physicists or these kinds of people, they think in that way. I think they are less inclined. I wouldn't say that they don't think this way at all, but that they're probably a lot less inclined to think about their nationalities as much. A lot of them do. I mean, but really, I don't know. I mean, the space thing hasn't really been as divided as it was in like the 60s or whatever during like the Cold War in a long time. Like now, like it's pretty fucking globalized. In terms
they've got Russians, Americans, I think Chinese on the ISS like right now.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. In the International Space Station, there's like a lot of different nationalities, and it's because I think generally what they ideally would want to think or feel like is like we're just trying to help the human race overall. Like learn more about the universe so we can all learn more, so we can all leave the Earth or explore more, and
celebrating.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because there's a distinction. Yeah.
I was saying that you can think that way while still celebrating like your specific heritage. It's
of course, yeah.
It's like if you scale it down to like a community of like say just like a village or something. Yeah. People still are going to have their own family traditions and values that are important to them.
Well, if we're talking about,
they're still working towards the ultimate.
If we're talking about like how many people like with what you were saying. If you're referring to like people who believe that we should just completely get rid of every different kind of nationality, I mean, I feel like that's a fringe thing.
What's your stance on it? I guess.
Well, hold on. Sorry.
Well, what were you gonna say just like with that, I guess to clarify, I think that there's like a very simplified view of saying like, we're all just humans, you know what I mean? Because and I think that is in a defense of like, or that's like against, I think the sentiment comes against oppression, you know what I mean? Being like, let's not make these distinct, we're all just the same, like that sort of thing. That's where like the root of it. But then the danger of it, the flip side of it is like totalitarian, oppressive regimes. Because
I 100% agree.
Yeah, because like you were talking about like for the betterment of humans, but then when it goes into this like sort of thing of complete globalized or not globalized because globalist is also mixing with capitalism, but like when it goes to that realm, oh fuck, I forgot like kind of what I was saying.
I feel like you're sort of going towards like the whole like New World Order sort of thing, where it's like one government, one sort of like decision making process that affects the entire species. But I mean, we can't pretend like there's not differences between cultures and between like different ideals and stuff. But there's got to be something that we're doing to where we're like, okay, we're all different, but also we're all fucking here.
Right.
What do we do?
So another thing that people talk a lot about is like, well, why now of all times should we be fighting about some of the things that we're fighting about instead of like when this whole fucking thing is going to go to shit, like if we don't do anything about it, like meaning like the fucking like with climate change and things like that, like we could all end up just fucking dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what's the point then at that point of anything if we're just going to let that happen? And that's not to say, I mean, I think what makes this kind of hairy is that you then get into this conversation about like, well, what is worth fighting for? What is worth fighting about? What's not worth fighting about? Like, oh, that's not important enough to fight about. This is important enough to fight about. That's a tough one because it's like it's going to be different for everybody. You know what I mean? There are some people who fight in terms of like against other nationalities or whatever, who, you know, they might feel like it's really worth it. Someone else might feel like it's not. You know what I mean? It's like who's going to be like you were saying, like who's going to be the decision making? It's that's totalitarian to then have somebody come in and be like, I get to decide. That's not important. That is important. Done. Right. You know what I mean? Like can't really do that. So this idea that we're not going to fight amongst ourselves, regardless of whatever the fuck we end up doing, if we fucking get rid of all the nation lines and etc. We're gonna fucking we're gonna find ways to fucking
global democracy, right? It's like we all, it's a democracy between every faction on the planet, right? That's what it's gonna. Okay, say fucking aliens showed up, right?
Yeah.
Say aliens, and then we find out, oh, we are not fucking special. There are billions of species. Yeah. All on different planets. They all, you know, like we kind of have to get our shit together as a species and say, okay, well, fuck.
Well, fuck that. I mean, we have to get our shit together as a species right now because the planet is like literally dying. We're already in a position where we're like the entire not just the species but our home is threatened, like very gravely threatened.
Yeah.
And we're not really rising to the occasion. Like I'm not very optimistic, to be honest, about the response to it. And that's not to say I don't blame that on the fact that other people are fighting about stuff or whatever. Like I don't, you know what I mean? It's
well,
just
what do you think is the solution to that though?
Well, a solution would be if I felt that humans were capable of doing this, which I don't know that I do. It would be for us to get together and like make the changes. Like it's not a secret what we need to do. Like what the world needs in order to stop this from happening is clear to scientists. Like they know what we should do. It's just getting people to do it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like people are just not willing to stop living the way that they're living. People are not willing to give up the lifestyle that they're having. And that's because they are only thinking of their generation or maybe one generation ahead of them, but they're not thinking of 3 or 4 or 5 generations down. Those are the people that are going to be the most fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like, whatever, I'm just going to live my life. Like, and I'm not any better. I'm not even saying like I'm not out here fighting for fucking climate. I'm not an activist or whatever, like spending my life doing that. Not really. So I don't know. I'm not even trying to like judge people. I'm just saying we all kind of are a little bit complacent in that way.
I've heard something that I'm probably gonna butcher it a little bit, but it was like what is it? Like the world will be at peace when old men plant seeds of trees that they will never see the shade of.
Yeah.
Something like that, you know.
I think, and this isn't like even like a pessimistic view. I don't think it's like a pessimistic view. I think it's just like being honest of like humans, you know?
Yeah.
But I think like we will ultimately like march into doom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, but that's not to say, see, and you said something about like, we're not doing a good job of taking care of the earth and stuff like that, but
well, I meant like as a response to what's happening. We're not responding to climate change.
Right. But I also think like in a lot of ways, okay, so yes, we fucking wiped out species and species of animals and you know, plants and things like that. But when it becomes inhabitable, I think that nature will exist beyond humanity.
I don't think that we could do enough to unless we blew up the fucking.
No, the Earth is going to exist though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look at
it's just going to be uninhabitable for humans.
Right. And I think like there's this.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
There's
it will make it harder for others.
We'll terraform Mars.
I guess there's been fucking asteroids that have crashed into the planet, and everything in the ocean's still fucking fine, like in the deep.
Right. Yeah.
Like it'll always be there.
It's just interesting because sometimes we equivalate like the preservation of like we will preserve Earth. It's like no. We're talking about preserving humanity.
Yeah.
We're talking about we're not talking about preserving Earth. Like Earth will exist and like nature will exist, and then it'll. I don't know. I even think too.
Thanos was right.
I just even think too with like, and this isn't being. This is too with like polluting. I'm not saying like let's go fucking polluting. I'm not saying that.
Why was that your hand motion for polluting? Polluting.
That's how I pollute, man.
I grabbed that burrito over there.
Yeah,
and threw it in the thing. No, but like I'm not saying like okay, it's okay to pollute and then I did the hand gesture again. But like, what if like that ends up kind of being utilized in some way past humanity? Like what if the
like
things
the
that we leave
pollution
behind,
you're saying?
Yeah, like
it's like hermit crabs fucking.
I don't think it's
not
helping
even
anybody.
But we don't. I'm not. And this isn't me advocating like, hey, fucking go.
Yeah,
blue.
no.
We don't know
what
what's gonna happen.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but I'm
it's
saying
just
like
chain events.
Right.
Like,
we don't know in what way. Like let's say everything dies on the Earth, which I don't know. Who fucking knows me? But
would be difficult to do.
What will?
It would be a lot easier to just kill humans, to have the human species die, than it would to have the entire life of the fucking Earth die.
Entire life, but even like I'm saying like we don't know in what way like trash will be utilized within the life cycle of the soil and the earth and things like that. We just don't really know. We don't. Or maybe people do, and I'm
I don't know
totally
if that's true
naive.
or not. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know. Maybe they do know.
But I know what you're saying. You don't know what impact it's truly going to have. Maybe there's going to be some species.
We're only thinking. We're only thinking in
right,
human
right,
terms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. But I will say though, reverting back to the kind of earlier thing we were talking about, is that if we're gonna think that way, then it really even makes the disputes amongst like nationalities and stuff like that seem even less like important.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because those are two extremes of like. You see what I'm saying?
You know what I'm upset about? I'm mad that Wall-E didn't hit on the race issues.
Who?
Wall-E.
Movie Wall-E?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm
but
mad that
maybe
they
does.
didn't. They didn't.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it already was touching on some pretty fucking
I'm just kidding.
huge subjects. Like defending Wall-E. I'm like, it's a good movie.
No,
What
Wall-E's
are
a
you
great.
talking about?
Wall-E's
Okay, hold on. I was gonna tell you guys this thing though. This is kind of crazy. So, because I am endlessly curious about the universe. Like I really, really want to I just want to know. I just want to know shit. Like already, like it's so insane. Like we're learning so much that we're like we're not unlearning things, but we're kind of like, oh fuck, maybe we don't know as much as we know. Like there's a lot of shit.
We're learning so much that we realize how stupid we are.
Kinda, yeah. Well, yeah, we're learning so much about what we don't know.
Yeah.
More than before, Like we're learning a lot of unknown. We're starting to gain a lot of known unknowns, as opposed to unknown unknowns. There's like this huge thing of things that we don't even know that we don't know, and then there's a lot of fucking things that we know we don't know, and then there's shit that we know, which is like really anyway. And the shit we don't know, we know. Anyway.
Shit we don't know yet.
No, but there's one thing though that I was learning about recently that blew my mind. I had no idea about this. And it's that I don't even know the name of it, and I'm going to probably butcher this description, but essentially there is so much in the last 50 years, whatever, however long, 70 years, however long we've been going to space. We've created so much space junk, like trash, that's just like orbiting the Earth. So
was your mic just like not working well this whole time? Because it just got so much louder.
Oh, maybe.
So there's a bunch of fucking trash orbiting the Earth, and they have like you can see like a fucking computer model of it, and it's fucking insane. There's so much trash, and when something's orbiting the Earth, it's moving at 30,000 miles per hour. It's going really fucking fast, satellites included. The wide majority of shit that's orbiting the Earth right now is not in use. There's like a few things that we're using, like satellites and things that we're using that are orbiting the Earth, and there's just a bunch of junk. And obviously the Earth is like so big that there's enough space up there for all the shit to do that and not really be bumping into each other. But an issue and something that scientists are kind of afraid of is that if two large enough things were to collide at 30,000 miles per hour, they would essentially just like completely become like tiny little, pieces of junk that would then accelerate as they're orbiting the Earth. And then these little pieces would start hitting other things and cause a chain reaction.
Satellites and shit.
Like satellites, different things that would just could theoretically cause this like never-ending, or not never-ending, but like this it would like exponentially start to like destroy things and break them into little pieces, which those pieces would go and then break other things and start to just, like right now things aren't really bumping into each other, but that would disrupt that essentially and like become like this thing where it's like everything.
Well, that's like what's happening with like Saturn. That's like what Saturn's rings and shit are, right? It's like space debris that's fucking.
Well, kind of, but these are just rings, but this is the entire atmosphere. So what they're afraid of is that if this happened, if this is like, I was watching this video on it. It's fucking insane. Like, it would take a really long time for this to act, for us to even become aware of it. So they're saying we don't even know that this might have already happened. This might already be happening. We're not even sure because it would take a long time after the first impact. Like, it would take a long time for that debris to even go and then hit other things, like years. So like years upon years upon years, more and more things would be crashing into each other and breaking. And so much so that eventually the entire atmosphere would be just covered in like small, sharp, like fragments of things that are moving at 30,000 miles per hour, and we can never like go back into space again.
Yeah, or put fucking satellites up by there. Anything. Completely destroy the infrastructure.
Yep. Like anything that we try to get out of the Earth now would just get destroyed because all this shit is just fucking violently like orbiting the Earth.
Pretty sure we're gonna kill ourselves before then. Anyway.
Maybe, but we're trying to go to Mars like soon.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's
we
like
can make it.
It's yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. I just didn't even.
Do you think that so this is going back to the whole like how long should humans survive sort of thing? Because like life is kind of meant to come to an end at a certain point, right? Like even just normal human life.
Oh,
it's like you have a limited lifespan. So do you think that scales up to species? I wouldn't want to fucking live forever. Biologically, just like that is just how things work. They live and then they die.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like, so I watched this thing of this guy who specializes in aging, and he's trying to like, he's working with like scientists who are trying to stop, figure out how to stop aging in people, and they're studying animals that don't age, like lobsters, don't age, so they don't ever die of old age. Their cells always regenerate at the same rate. And they can only die from being killed.
Wow.
Essentially, yeah. I think they can get diseases and die, but other than that, they don't get weaker. You know how like aging is just your body gets less good at staying alive.
Yeah.
Their bodies don't get less good at staying alive. Just don't age. So
Larry the Lobster. Larry the
Lobster
is a weird guy.
One thing that I feel every time that I eat a lobster from now on, I'm gonna feel fucking immortal.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, you little bitch. Yeah, like knowing that it would have lived forever and I fucking ate it.
There you go. Well, not forever. I mean, they're gonna die, but like.
Oh, what?
Well, because you can kill them. I mean, and so that's I guess not the same thing as what you're talking about is like immortality, but he was saying like one fundamental thing that if you're gonna get into this field. Like as a scientist, that you have to change in your mentality is the idea that death is natural, is the idea that like death is something that has to happen. You have to be able to believe that maybe we can fix death and maybe it's not the worst thing. Maybe it's not a terrible thing. And he was like, I understand that like people, they start to think this kind of like.
Well, even you just said the lobster's not going to live forever.
Well, it's not going to live forever. Well, not aging. But he's saying in general, the first thing they're trying to do is learn how to stop aging. But I think overall what they're trying to do is like, make death less and less and less and less likely and less and less and less. Like if you were to stop aging, that would stop a lot of deaths, like a lot of fucking deaths. You know what I mean? So it might not stop death, period, but it's definitely going to make a big dent on how often people die and how.
Or even if you just expanded the life cycle, like by another 100 years, you know. That'd probably really advance the species because you'd have fucking 150-year-old people who are still there who've just been around.
And we don't really know what that would do really to society, but I just thought that was an interesting thought of what he was saying, where it's like because it's so true, it's something that we're all we all like grow up thinking like, well, death is just one of those things. It's just everyone dies. We're all gonna die. Blah blah blah. But it's like there might be a generation where suddenly you think that, and then you're like, wait, I don't have to. It's like, wait, I don't have to age anymore, or like whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, there's
and I guess that makes sense too. Like if you can keep artificially creating like organs in your body, something to like pump the blood. You know what I mean? You think I'm fucking with you?
I think you're fucking with me because I that's like the story that the like script that I have.
Oh no way.
Never mind. Yeah.
The one.
I thought you were fucking with me because it's a story that I wrote.
No, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember you telling me that. I don't remember that aspect. Oh, I do remember this thing.
Like replacing like body parts.
Yeah. And is it still the ship of Theseus?
But I don't think that's what. I don't even think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're like trying to deprogram your cells from deteriorating.
Right.
From like dying.
And that, because I was gonna say like that's not natural though, but I mean it is natural if we're doing it right.
Yeah,
it's still just evolution of human thought, which is our fucking thing. Like some animals are really good at one specific thing. Our specific thing is we're really fucking good at thinking.
Yeah,
we're the best at it on the fucking planet as far as we know.
Or like organizing and those kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, but some animals are really good at surviving by fucking regenerating their cells. They can live at depths below where anything can even really fuck with them.
That's absolutely true.
This is our thing.
I mean, dude, I don't know. That would be a crazy fucking world if we did stop aging.
Yeah,
it'd be like a weird one.
Imagine you were like 90 and they figured it out. You're like, fuck, I don't want to be this age for fucking ever. I just let myself die, I think.
Yeah, huh? You know what else is a trippy one? So okay. Do you guys know about like dark energy and dark matter?
Yeah, I'm an expert on that field.
So dark energy essentially.
Actually?
So
yeah.
So scientists have basically like realized that 95% of the universe is made up of dark energy. Mm-hmm. There's more. 95%, I think. Something like this. These numbers might not be completely accurate, but I think it's 95% of the universe is dark energy, 4% is dark matter, and 1% is matter, which is everything that we know and we can see. So dark energy is this thing that makes up everything, and the reason why, like how they know that it exists, even though they don't have any idea what it is that we realize that the universe is expanding. Right, so that's something we realize. Things are moving away from each other, right? Which is how we got the idea of the Big Bang, because we just reversed that idea into one spot. But then they realized it's not only expanding; it's accelerating in its expansion. So exponentially, things are moving faster and faster away from each other, and that doesn't make any sense. Like when it comes to like physics and the laws of physics that we know. Because gravity should be holding things together in a way that we can like
but also things shouldn't be speeding up without an external force.
Well, exactly. Something has to be pushing them apart. It doesn't really make any sense. There's no like force that we know of that should be pushing these things apart. So but they are being pushed apart. That's the only thing we do know. We can measure that. We know that they're being pushed apart. We don't know what it is, so it's called dark energy. There's some kind of energy source that's somehow doing that thing. We don't know what it is, so why it's called dark, because we just can't see it. We don't know what the fuck. But based on how much things are accelerating, we can measure that it makes up the majority of the universe. It's like this thing, dark energy. So what happens is that at the acceleration of the universe, things are faster and faster moving away from each other. Eventually, it's going to, like at its fringes, start moving faster than the speed of light. And light is is how you see things, right? It's like light travels from whatever the thing is you can see it, the stars or whatever. So anything that's traveling away from you faster than the speed of light, you're never going to see. Because it's just the light will never reach you. It's moving way too fast away from you. So that starts to happen to the fringes of the universe little by little by little. So there are things, there could be things out there that are traveling so fast and so far away that we'll never be able to see them or reach them ever. They're completely outside of the limits of any living thing.
of any like matter really.
Yeah, sort of. But they exist.
Matter can't travel faster than the speed of light.
Nothing can, apparently.
But except for space. Because
space can expand faster than the speed of light. Is the only thing. Yeah. Which is with dark energy. So the idea is, and this is essentially what they think that how the universe is going to die is which is we were talking about this last time. Yeah. It's like the what is it called, the big big freeze or whatever.
Yeah, it's
heat death.
Entropy.
Heat death.
Heat death.
Yeah, yeah. Universe. So things are going to continue to expand. Obviously, this is going to take billions and billions of years, but things are going to continue to expand it like that, and the universe is going to like everything's going to get so far away from each other, and eventually going to like pass that horizon of like moving so quickly away from you that you can no longer, the light will never reach you again, until eventually like every single thing, like star and planet and etc., is just going to be completely isolated from everything else. So they talk about like how if there are humans at the point where this stuff starts happening at a faster and faster rate, they are gonna like, they will never, like a lot of the things we can observe now, they're just never gonna know even existed unless they have like our records of it. But other than that, they'll never be able to observe it ever again because it's just gone, which is fucking insane to think about.
Eventually it gets
too much to think about.
I know, it's like
it's too much to think about.
It's heavy.
Anyway, you guys are gonna hit the club after this or what?
No, but seriously, I mean, like sometimes it's
like existential crisis worthy.
And I avoid those. You know.
We probably should call it.
Yeah.
Here, but.
Yeah. No, it's.
What were you gonna say though?
No, just that. Like you know, I used to love conversations about the universe and these abstractions and stuff like that.
They're not abstractions, it's science.
Not abstractions, whatever.
No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever the fuck it is. But I feel like now they just like, I don't even like it. I do like it because it tickles, you know what I mean? Like it kind of like tickles and stuff like that. But it's almost so out of like my reach of understanding
out
of my control and stuff like that. Like I like thinking about the microcosms and the strange abstractions of like way like political systems work and how cultures interact with each other, things. And it's very like material. It's material like here, you know, and stuff like that. It's in front of me. It's a little bit more graspable. But Jesus, like, you know, you're talking about these things, and I'm like, what does it look like? Like, what does that look like? I can close with like my theory of the universe that I came from. Like,
let's go.
This was like in high school when I was flunking every single class, and then for some reason I got some book called Hyperspace by Michio Kaku, and he's one of the lead physicist thinkers of like wormholes. You know what I mean? Things about wormholes. It's like also when I was doing, you know, psychedelics and, you know, whatever, and I had this idea. There's twofold. One of it is I saw a leaf that was like blowing in the wind, and you know how like matter is not truly solid. You know how it's
there's atoms in the space and
it's floating, and things are moving in and out of it and stuff. So then I had, you know, when we move forward, I was thinking like, how do the atoms know to reform in the way that they're forming, you know, and this sort of thing. And then it got me thinking about the idea of like predestination, you know, something like knows every movement we're about to do for things to be able to realign in the way that they do. So I was like, well, then how does that happen? It's like, okay, well, maybe like, you know, this is almost like a cliched thought of like, you know, everything's already existed, you know, like everything's already dead. So this sparked this idea of Nevius Vestis, which is like, I just looked up the Google thing of like white something. So it's like, because I had this thing of outside of the universe, it's like all pure white matter, right? And everything's like bouncing up against each other, and then things displace, and when they displace, that's the birth of a whole universe. And while the matter is trying to reform to get back into its place of, you know, going, there's basically like this little bubble pop of like a, you know, and in that moment, all of everything we've ever, you know, everything we've done exists, and stuff like that. That moment
is like quadrillions of years, but it's a moment.
Right. Yeah. And it just, you know, it expands and then goes back into itself in like this thing. Yeah. And while it's expanding, that's when wormholes are allowing matter in, because that's what Michio Kaku talks about, is that there's like these wormholes that allow basically matter which form into
bend space-time to
right.
travel distance.
Right. So it was like this idea of like outside of the universe, there's this like pure like electricity, basically like a lightning rod that expands forever and is constantly going, you know what I mean? And then every single thing, every single moment of that for all of time, there's just these like that, and just universes are.
So is that all that we are? We're just one of those little blips?
We're just one of those little blips, and like everything's already happened and stuff like that.
Interesting.
I like
that kind of is like there's similar. That's similar. Go ahead. That's similar to some like theories though. Like,
I told my teacher that I failed the fuck out of his class,
because of that theory.
Well, no, I was on academic decathlon, so for 1 year I was in non-honors all of high school, and I was able to put myself in all the classes. When I was in that class, they're like, choose your schedule, and I was like, what the fuck, I can do this? All right, put me in AP fucking whatever it was. So they got put in this class, failed terribly, and then I went to present him this thing, and he's like, if I knew that your thing, I could have helped you out with this stuff, and then I never fucking talked to him again.
He's like, this is just kind of making up what you think might have happened instead of, is this in physics?
Yeah, exactly. This is a story. You gotta be an English major. I was like, all right, fine.
Fuck. Okay. Fuck. All right. This might open up a whole nother can almost.
I have one thing too, but that's it.
How the fuck do we, if everything's happening all at the same time, right? Because that's kind of the theory is that all of time is happening all at the same time, right? Yeah. Or not at the same time, whatever. It's all happening. How am I only experiencing this one specific moment along with you guys? So if it's all already happened or happening all the time.
Well, I mean, okay. If what you're referring to is like time as a fourth dimension, that's what when you say time, all of time happened at once, that means that it's like a physical dimension, the same way that all of space exists at once.
Yes.
Like all of like the third dimension, which we can perceive, exists at once, in the sense that like not just this room exists right now, but all of the world and all of the universe is all happening right now. It exists right now.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same thing. It's like they think of that as the fourth dimension. It's time. And it all the same way exists at the same time. But the same way that a two-dimensional being that can only perceive in two dimensions, if they were to perceive space, they would only perceive it piece by piece in two dimensions. Does that make sense? So if you have like a flatlander like being that cannot experience like height and depth, right? They can only move like left and right and forward and back or whatever. Yes. If you were to take a three-dimensional object like a balloon and pass it through that dimension, it wouldn't be able to perceive the balloon in its depth. It would only be able to perceive that specific aspect of it, as it goes on, piece by piece. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So
what you're saying.
It's the same idea with fourth dimension. Time is passing through us in that way. We're only perceiving it moment by moment by moment by moment by moment by moment as it's going
through us. But even though,
or it's passing through our dimension.
But also, like, depends on like who you are.
Yeah, I watched Interstellar, and he was able to experience all that shit at once. So
that's the Tesseract. Yeah. So that I mean, the idea in that is that like
it's a 3D representation of the four-dimensional.
It's as if you could experience time as a physical dimension.
But it looks the way that you're describing it, of that like cross section. It's just. You have access to all.
But obviously, we can't actually show what a fourth dimensional thing would look like, because we can't perceive it. We're three-dimensional beings. That's a whole fucking can of worms. The time and that whole thing.
Let's talk about it.
It is fucking insane. Time and relativity is fucking insane. And also just how much Einstein, because you hear his name all the time, how much he actually had an influence on like everything. The way we think of everything is fucking unreal. Like he had such a fucking he had so many ideas and thoughts that ended up impacting everything. Like either him discovering them or having the thought and being like, this would make sense, and then 50 years later somebody else discovering the same thing. It's fucking insane.
That's what we're told.
Shut the fuck up.
And that's probably where you're gonna be in like 50 years with that one paper.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The white matter theory.
Yeah.
Let me. This is the last one I was gonna say. This is like just.
Then I got a couple more after that.
because I just kind of started reading about this and I don't really fully understand it yet, but I think
yeah, there's like physicists watching this right now being like, no, that's
they don't.
No, that's not
so fucking stupid. Just so fucking stupid.
I just did my like 5-minute rant. They're like, no,
what?
No.
So one thing I just found out about, or just started to learn about, kind of, is Hawking radiation, which is like Stephen Hawking discovered, or mathematically discovered, sort of, but that no one's measured yet. But that happens all the time. Like, same thing happened with Einstein with gravitational waves. Yeah. Last year or something, 2 years ago is when we first actually measured it. Anyway, so Stephen Hawking figured out mathematically that this should make sense, that because this is the only way I know how to explain it. There are everything else in the world, like we can kind of imagine how it's going to die, essentially. Like stars, for example, they are radiating energy all the time. So like the sun, we know it's going to die, because it's expelling energy away. So eventually it's going to run out and fucking collapse and die. The energy at its core is no longer going to push out against gravity enough, and it's going to collapse. Anyway, the only thing though that besides Hawking radiation we know how it's going to die are black holes, which I don't know if you know anything about black holes, but the idea is nothing gets out of black holes. So they don't radiate anything. Or so we thought, right? Oh, nothing comes out. Or so we thought.
Join us next week.
So they don't radiate, they don't radiate anything away. So like, how the fuck are they gonna die? What happens? Like, they only suck shit in. You know what I mean? So
me too.
Hawking radiation was this thing that he discovered. It's just the only way we can imagine that black holes will die, which will be the last thing, so to speak, to die in the universe. And basically what it is there are like electrons. Through quantum physics we can see that that electrons essentially have like superposition. You can't really like pinpoint one place for an electron, and because of that there is a horizon for a black hole where once you pass the horizon you can never come back, but if you're on the outside of the horizon you can always leave the black hole. You know what I'm saying? There's a line. We don't know where it is, obviously, but there has to be a line that if you're on this side of the line, you sucked into the black hole, you're never coming out. If you're on this side of the line, you can leave. But because we can't actually...
Strictest club bouncer.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. Exactly. But because we can't pinpoint electrons, because electrons have superposition, and we cannot technically, ever pinpoint an electron... I'm pretty sure this is what it is. Because we can't do that, we can't ever actually count it as in or out. So it's kind of both, which is another way that they explain it is like matter and antimatter. It's this whole thing. But the idea is, because of that, very tiny electrons are actually radiating out of... They're the only things, so to speak, that are escaping from black holes. But they're electrons. They're subatomic particles. They're smaller than atoms. So... these things are killing black holes. They are slowly removing the matter of black holes, but at such a small rate that they will outlive everything else in the universe. Everything else is going to die. And for longer than everything else existed, black holes will just live, but eventually radiate away and die through Hawking radiation.
So that's how the universe is. This is what that video we were fucking watching was saying, but you fell asleep during this shit. I did fall asleep, yeah. Yeah, so interesting, but I guess I wasn't saying anything that you didn't fucking already know.
No, I don't.
Einstein.
I actually don't really understand it, but
it's okay. But at a surface level, you do. You understand the story of it.
Oh, shit.
Was that a fire?
That was a crash.
Damn.
That was a car accident.
That was fucking bad.
Big car accident.
Better not have been my car.
Just fuck.
Yeah, that sounded bad.
You guys want to go check it out?
Yeah.
I think someone hit a parked car, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. All right, well, that's how we're ending this episode, I suppose. I forgot I was wearing these. Oh, yeah. It looks ugly in here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep trying to fucking do this and, be consistent with it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hope you did, too.
I'm down to come back whenever you want.
Oh, you thought I was inviting you back?
Oh, shit.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'd love to have you back.
Yeah. All right. Listen to my EP.
Yeah, listen. Oh yeah, we didn't even fucking talk about it, but yeah, you came out with an EP.
Yeah.
Tell people how they can find you and
Spotify. Terrible Tadeh. Or no, yeah, Terrible Tadeh.
Terrible Tadeh.
Yep.
And then Tadeh.Agmook
is the Instagram
on Instagram. Yep. And then this is at Swoon Like You on Instagram.
Yep.
Swoon and like Swoon on Spotify. Mm-hmm. Yep. And bye.
See ya.
But